It's that time of year again. Sets the mind's Wayback Machine to the times in grade school and junior high, getting the tissue paper thin catalogs for Scholastic books.
Hi, I'm Matt.
Hi, I'm Andy.
We're with Typo Comiks. We're here today to review some classic Halloween horror comics.
Can I just sit here and just read this? This is so cool.
That's not going to make a very interesting video.
No, I know it's not. For my own personal library out front here, we got these are reprints, not originals. I don't have that big of a gold mine of some great classic titles. Of course, if you're growing up watching HBO, you probably recognize Tales from the Crypt. And of course, you know, each issue had the three seminal characters: the Crypt Keeper, Vault Keeper, the Old Witch. You know, they all had their own titles. Vault of Horror, and I think we have a Haunt of Fear down there.
The Haunt of Fear.
Yeah, these came about from William Gaines, you know, whose father started, you know, basically started comic books, you know, with the reprint funnies and everything, and then, you know, more original material started going in the 50s. You know, a lot of adults after World War II were, you know, still reading comics, and, you know, they wanted to put, you know, kind of adult material, but, you know, kids were reading these too, and, you know, they didn't, you know, I think these were catered more towards the adult sensibilities, and, well, kids, you know, read comics, you know, they're going to be wanting to read, like I said that there, wanting to read anything, and, you know, we were kids too. We watched our horror movies growing up, and of course these anthologies, you know, have been, you know, parodied and repeated throughout the years and everything. These are, like I said, these are reprints, and I still love them. You know, I mean, you know, your 50s 50s ideals and sensibilities and everything. That's when they started having those, you know, those subcommittee hearings, and Frederick Wortham trying to outlaw
the Age of Innocence.
If you want to raise a generation that is half stormtroopers and half cannon fodder, with a dash of illiteracy, then comic books are good. In fact, they are perfect. Just a very short while ago, an 11-year-old boy committed a holdup in California and killed a woman of 42. And when the police came to arrest this 11-year-old boy, his older brother, who's 20, said, "If you want to know the cause of all this, here it is. It's these rotten comic books."
Yeah, kids these days.
Trying to outlaw the comic books in general, and of course, instead of, you know, well, after they had a great Nazi book burning of all this stuff, they decided the industry, you know, should have the censor and everything. That's when the Comics Code came into play and everything, and started just basically editing down and just making it to what would be the right word for it? Just
Puritanical.
okay.
Puritanical. Overbearingly puritanical, I would say. That actually there was then there was a great a backlash, and that leads into my first pick for comics that kind of typified my childhood as far as the horror aspect, which was Deadworld, which is I don't know if you'd call it a seminal zombie comic. It certainly is the first time I saw nudity, even though it was in black and white in a comic book. But this little baby had a wonderful shtick with the Comics Code and everything. Each issue had two covers. One was just a black cover, and it said in big red letters, "For pussies only." And then the other comic, of course, had the full color horror themed, gory, often sexy, always sexy, I think, covers with the, full splash gore, lots of splatter, zombies carrying limbs, wonderful book. Books. This is a collection, Volume 1, but the title is awesome and should be checked out whenever you can get your hands on one. What about these comics? What about this genre? This group of comics do you enjoy?
Well, like you said with the Deadworld, it's the art, and has some of my favorite artists that really influenced. I mean, you didn't see gore in comics much, and I'm seeing this, and this is in the 50s and everything. These were pretty intense, art-wise. I mean, my favorite, Graham Ingalls, who did Haunt of Fear, right there, yeah, Haunt of Fear. His, I mean, I've seen original pictures of original artwork, the black and white alone. I mean, he does this thing with his brush work and the lighting and everything. I mean, you don't need color for it, but put color on it so it will stand out and get the readership. There's some great ones there. Al Williamson, who did a lot of the the sci-fi stuff, in there. I mean, it's still some of the greatest brushwork and artwork. It's got Flash Gordon written all over it. Johnny Craig, who's done a lot of the Tales from the Crypt, and the writing too. Like I said, that whole anthology bit has been replayed and done so much. Even heavy metal. I mean, it's got the anthology stories and everything. The only difference is that these comics have the three storyteller characters that make their appearance and introduce the stories.
When one first looks at these comics, you could say, you could see somebody saying, well, that's cheesy, or that's it's well, because you look at it and you think, well, that's so cliche. But this isn't the cliche. This is the seminal work. This is what this is the original. This is it. This was new at the time, and that's kind of exciting to see, where it all came from too. You could look at this and easily say, well, this is kind of a simplistic style. But if you look at any of these faces on this cover, there's very real expression and emotion in this art. The art is fantastic. I think the print and the color was simpler.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
I think it lends itself more to that old noir style, but definitely the artwork on these is it really is second to none. There's especially when you think about, these were the guys that did it first. These were the guys that were doing it, and they were inventing it. And it was the werewolf on this cover.
That's a great werewolf.
Incredible werewolf. And the zombies on this, I mean, those dull, muted, rotting colors. Those are
your favorite, the blob.
The blob. Yeah, anything with the blob. Anything with,
the illustration alone, it tells what's in the covers alone tell what's inside here. I mean, this illustration, gets the eye following. You got a maniac chasing children here.
So I guess my other pick then for books that shaped me, and this one surprised me. I was given this. This is Evil Ernie, Youth Gone Wild.
I read Evil Ernie.
Yeah, Chaos Comics. Brian Pulido.
Mm-hmm.
I was given this as a gift. I'd never heard of it, and this is some 20 some years ago that somebody gave me this comic, and I read it in a sitting, and I remember I went and I had a few drinks and a pizza, and I sat down and I read the fucking thing again. It's the artwork in here, black and white, hand rendered, no computer work that I could see. Although if it's there, I mean, I don't think it was. It's like I said, it's 20 plus years old. This is just a beautiful art. Just the artwork is worth just.
Captions and balloons look like they were, X-Acto knifed out.
Yeah,
Paper
yes.
and rubber cemented to the board.
And you've got Lady Death here. What can I say about that? That's the price of admission right there. There's some drawings in here of Lady Death that they definitely do not meet the old comics code. I mean, that would have been cut out. And no nudity, just very suggestive, very clever, well rendered, well written, very original story. Ernie is also a likable character as much as he's the villain. In a lot of ways, he's the hero. By the end of the comic, you're almost rooting for Ernie and Lady Death and their odd love of the end of the world. It's a great comic. I suggest this to anybody to read. I love this. I can't talk enough about this comic.
Okay, you talked me into it here. Bye. Please don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and do hit the bell for notifications and sweet dreams. Oh shit.